Hi everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Lisa Collum and I am the author and the owner of Top Score Writing. Today's presentation is going to be on meeting the needs of below level writers. Now, regardless of what grade you're in, a lot of times many of our students come in below level when it comes to writing. Unfortunately, writing doesn't get started for most grades until later, sometimes even fourth or higher. And so we find a lot of kids at that starting point and being below level for writing. So this presentation is going to go over a bunch of different tips and strategies that you can do for your below level, which may be your whole class or maybe just some of them. But these are tips that I believe can be used with all levels of students. So let's go ahead and get started. So why do we recommend the need to increase our focus on writing? So kind of what I was saying in the last slide was I work with thousands of schools and writing has kind of been pushed to the side in a lot of them. Our ELA block has become 90% reading, and writing is just kind of what I call sprinkled throughout the curriculum. So kids aren't getting that daily writing practice with those daily lessons that all build upon the next. They're just kind of getting it sprinkled. And so the reason that we need to make sure that we're increasing our focus on writing is that it's a life skill. They're going to need it. They're going to need to know how to write in elementary school, middle school, definitely high school, even more college, even more for future jobs, whether you're typing it, writing it paper and pencil, talking into your phone, writing an email, a proposal. These are all things that they're going to need for life. And on top of all of that, these kids' brains are filled with ideas and we have to show them how to get it out on paper in a structured and organized way. So I have tons of statistics and research behind this, but I like to share some of them in my presentations. So you can see here, according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, only 25% of school-age students write at or above proficiency. This is a statistic that's consistent among the years. And so to me, as a mom of four and an educator for 20 years, this is sad because I know the importance of writing. So a lot of what's going to go on in today's presentation is going to be to help increase this overall stat. So like I was saying before, writing is a lifelong skill. The ability to write clearly and coherently in a structured and organized manner is crucial for success in K through 12 education, college, and a workplace. So it's not just so much of writing, it's writing in a structured and organized manner. I'll give you an example of a lot of people will say, write in a journal. You know, kids will come in, the teacher will say, write how your weekend was. That's very hard for kids. They could tell you all day long, but writing it's hard because no one's showing them how to get all of this on paper in a structured and organized way. Even book reports, you know, my own kids come home, I have to write a book report. What do I do, Mom? I don't know what to write. We have to give them structure. Saying something as simple as, okay, your first paragraph of the book report is going to be 2 to 3 sentences, and you're going to introduce the topic and the main idea of the book. Then the middle paragraph is going to be 3 to 4 sentences. You're going to talk about your favorite part of the book. And then the fifth paragraph is going to be 2 to 3 sentences, or the third paragraph is going to be 2 to 3 sentences. You're going to talk about why it's your favorite book or not your favorite book. It's just something. I'm just giving an example. See how I'm giving them pieces to fill in with these ideas. And then as they learn this structure, then they become creative and then they individualize their writing and then they become better. So if you want creative writers, you start with structure. I always use the example, if you've never heard me talk before, you haven't heard this, but if you had, I say this all the time. People just don't jump on bikes and start doing tricks, okay? We all start on bikes with training wheels. We take them off and we learn how to ride without them, and then we start slowly bringing in tricks. So if we want these advanced creative writers, we gotta start by showing them how to get all these thoughts on paper. Okay, moving along. So a couple more stats for you real quick. So according to the National Center of Education Statistics, at the elementary level, 97% of students report spending 3 hours a week or less on writing. So a whole week, 3 hours, not enough for elementary. I will tell you right now, that's bare minimum. Okay, bare minimum. I would say if they could get 45 minutes a day to an hour, that would be ideal. But I'm going to be honest with you. I work with thousands of schools and most schools only have 30 minutes a day. So I'm fine with that. I wrote my curriculum to specifically meet those needs because I understand that's what we're given. It is what it is. But just letting you know, most students need more than that. It's just like anything, they need that time to build those skills and to practice. Here's what I'm going to say. If you have 30 minutes and you can do it 5 days a week, you are perfectly fine. And I will make sure with the lessons that you're following, if you're using my curriculum, they're going to be where they need to be because I designed it that way with you all in mind, knowing we don't have an hour every day. And the last stat, National Commission on Writing, the amount of time students spend writing should be at least doubled. So we know that this is, obviously we all want that, but we know time is a factor in schools. Okay, so let's talk about what do we do for these below level writers, these struggling writers. Now remember, you can have a student that is above level in reading, that's below level in writing, in fourth grade, let's say, because a lot of fourth graders walk in without having the foundations and basic structure of an essay. So they may be at the beginning level of writing because they were never taught how to write, okay? So just remember, don't think about your levels, your reading and your writing. Although they go hand in hand, there's a time and a place where they kind of even out. When we're just introducing writing, they're at a beginning level. Okay, so for your below level writers, students that are not on grade level for writing, you are going to start with foundational writing skills, okay? Non-text-based writing. This is done through non-text-based writing. Now you may say, Lisa, time out. Every state test is text-based writing. You are right, okay? But you're never going to get good at text-based writing if you don't know how to do non-text-based writing, because non-text-based writing takes out the passages in the text and it just teaches foundations and structure. Think about your old school type of writing. Write about your favorite animal. Write about a person that's special in your life. Write about a place you like to go to. These are your simple prompts. You're not using text, but this is where you learn. In the introduction paragraph, you start with the hook. Then you state your topics. Then you have a closing. This is where you learn in the middle paragraphs, you have a transition word and a topic sentence and supporting details and elaboration. You learn the pieces and structure through non-text-based writing. Every kid below grade level in writing or below level in writing needs to start with the foundational writing skills through non-text-based writing. If you use my curriculum, you know Section 1 is there for a reason. Section 1 is all non-text-based writing because I'm a firm believer and kids need those foundational skills. Okay, once you've mastered non-text-based writing, then you start introducing text-based writing. But you're going to want to use text that's on the student's independent reading level. So if you have a fifth grader that independently reads at a second grade level, you're going to want to pull second grade level text, okay? Now, here's my disclaimer, okay? Because I don't want to hear it from any county people or teachers that may not believe in this. I'm not saying use second grade level text the whole year. I'm just saying in the beginning, when you're introducing the skills of text-based writing, put text they can read in front of them. If you're trying to show them how to do quotes and paraphrase information and they can't even read what they're writing, they can't even read what's in front of them, they're never going to get that skill. So teach quotes and paraphrasing and own thoughts and ideas from text that's on their independent reading level. And then as they master the skills, then you will start putting grade level text in front of them, okay? So we're going to start with step 1 is teaching foundations through non-text based. Then we're going to introduce text-based writing, but we're going to introduce it at their level text, okay? I don't care if you have an 8th grade that's on a second grade level, put second grade level text in front of them while you teach the skills. Once they've mastered each skill, then you move them into grade level. Okay, then you're going to individualize instruction, okay, based on what the student needs, and then you will put grade level text in front of them, okay? This is kind of the pace. I'm going to go through all of these, but this is kind of the pace of how you approach below level writers. So you could do this now. You could, in August, when you start the new school year, you could say, you know what? I did a pre-test and my class is all below level. They are not writing at a 5th grade level. Let's say you're a 5th grade teacher. You would start with foundations, then introduce text, then individualize instruction, and then you put that grade level text. Because guess what? And I'm saying this as a mom of 4. If my kids got to take a state test, I want them to be prepared with grade level text. I understand that. But I also want them to go in with some skills. So it helps to introduce the skills on their reading level text. And then at least they've learned the skill. So when you put grade level text, even though they might not be able to read every word or understand it, at least they have the skills they need. Okay, so step one. Okay, these are 4 steps. I'm gonna go through the steps. So step one, teaching foundational writing skills through non-text-based writing. Okay, why do we start with non-text-based writing? I kind of said some of this, but I'm gonna review. First of all, it engages your reluctant writers because a lot of kids, text and writing scares them. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Okay, so text and I gotta write an essay. They like tap out from the beginning. So it's a nice way to ease into writing because it's not that hard. And most kids, I don't care, ELL, ESC, most kids pick up on the structure like that. And it suddenly gives them this motivation and confidence of, oh, writing's not that bad. I actually am doing it. Okay. And although it's basic, it's foundations. And so it engages those reluctant writers. Topics are personally relevant. A lot of the non-text based write about your favorite animal, write about a place you like to go to. These are things that they can attach that personal side of things. It's a vehicle to teach students the pieces of an essay. Yes, if you break down an essay, there are pieces. And just like every other thing we learn all the pieces and we put it together. Okay, so I'm never ever gonna have a kid, I don't care if I'm teaching a class or tutoring, what I'm doing, I'm never gonna say, today we're writing an essay for the first time. No. I'm gonna break it down into pieces and teach each piece, and then we're gonna put it together. It builds confidence, okay, which increases the student's willingness to try. It's the easiest way to teach them to generate ideas and organize their thoughts. And then the ITC or IRC outline, which is how we plan, I'll go over that with you, can be used to generate vocabulary and language. Okay, so it's just a nice way to ease into teaching writing. So here's where students struggle. I said this before. They got a whole bunch of ideas up here and have no idea how to get it on paper or typing, whichever. I'm going to say paper a lot, but you know what I mean. And that's just, it's not their fault. This is how we're all born, right? We've got our brain, all these ideas, you know, we learn how to talk, we learn how to communicate when we're little, and then it's just kind of, it's up here, we know how to talk, but no one's showing us how to get it from there to here. And if you just say write, you're just going to get mush. And it's going to be all over the place, and you're going to say, you know, your stuff's not organized, the details are all over. Yeah, because that's the way their brain is. It's just flying around. We have to show them how to take it here and put it here in an organized way and teach them pieces. They're going to plug, okay, I'm going to put my main topic here, some details here, elaborate here. And so we're putting in the pieces, and then from there, we become creative and grow as writers. Okay, so 2 main factors. Biggest 2 pieces of the writing process, I will preach this all day long, planning and organization. So planning is the first step, right? We've got to take all these ideas and plan them. Whenever I'm modeling in front of a classroom, like I was modeling in front of a 1st grade classroom, and I said to them, we were picking our favorite animal, and I picked dog, and I said to them, I probably have like 30 reasons why I like dogs. Like I really like dogs. I said, but obviously I can't write about all 30. So I've got to take all these 30 and pick my top 3, right? So it's just helping them learn that process of, you've got all these ideas, let's plan it out. We're not going to talk about everything. We're not going to pick everything. We're going to be very strategic about what we pick, and we're going to plan it out. And then I teach planning as being your roadmap. So then you take your roadmap, and now you turn those words into sentences that make paragraphs. You can see, if you're looking at this screen with the color coding, the relationship between that roadmap you're planning and how it becomes your essay. Your I becomes the yellow paragraph, your T1 the blue, T2 the green. I'm big on color coding too. My favorite way to teach writing. So now they see, oh, that's all I have to do is plan. Once you plan, your essay's done. Because now all you have to do is just elaborate on that topic. But your planning sets up this success for the entire paper. And when they go to high school and college and they're writing research papers, the exact same process is going to happen. Okay, when we go to write emails, when I'm writing emails for my business and writing things out, the exact same process happens. If I'm explaining a strategy, I'm mapping out all the pieces and what I'm going to elaborate on in my email. So this part is going to set them up for success for the rest of their life. Planning out your ideas, picking topics, and then organizing it as you write it. Okay, so let's talk about simple planning. And I'm talking basic. And trust me, I know we can get much fancier with this, but I'm keeping it basic for you today because I want to start with stepping stones, okay? So one of the ways we plan, well, there's only two ways. We use an IRC or an ITC, okay? So for non-text-based writing, we use an IRC. So I stands for introduction, the R stands for reasons, and C stands for conclusion. The only difference is with ITC, instead of reasons, we have topics. That's it. So if you're looking at this planning outline that is in this yellow box, you're going to see my I is introduction, R1 reason 1, R2 reason 2, R3 reason 3, C is conclusion. Now, the prompt is write to explain about your favorite activity. Whatever activity you pick, you always put whatever that main topic's going to be, you put on the I and the C line. That's why I wrote basketball on I and C. If I would have picked cheerleading, I would have put cheerleading on I and C. If I would have picked soccer, I would have put soccer on I and C. Whatever the main topic is. If it said write about your favorite animal and I picked a dog, I'd put dog on I and C. So whatever your main topic is in response to the prompt, because the prompt says write to explain about your favorite activity, you put on the I and the C. Then I have to come up with 3 reasons why this is my favorite activity. So reason 1, I like basketball, is because I can shoot the ball. Reason 2 is because I can dribble the ball. Reason 3 is because I can win. Okay, now watch closely on this part because this part is super important, okay? Next to each reason, I have an A and a B. Those are my subtopics. I don't have A's and B's next to I or C, only next to my reasons. That's how I'm going to elaborate. Now, pretend there's no A's and B's there, okay? Look at R1 about shooting the ball. If I don't have A's and B's, all that student is going to say is, I like basketball because I can shoot the ball. I can shoot the ball. Shooting is fun. I like to shoot, right? There's some keep saying shooting the ball, shooting the ball, shooting the ball. If you have A's and B's, you can say, I like basketball because I can shoot the ball. One way I can shoot the ball is by shooting a 3-pointer. And then I elaborate on that. Another way I can shoot the ball is by dunking. Then I elaborate that. So it helps them take that topic and expand in 2 ways. Okay, same thing with dribbling. I'm not just saying I can dribble the ball, dribbling is fun, I dribble fast, I dribble down the court. We're gonna say dribbling, then we're going to dribble, we're going to write about dribbling down the court, and then we're gonna write about dribbling in between our legs. And then for winning, we're gonna write about winning a series and winning a trophy, okay? So this lays out their entire essay. Now, if you have a 1st or 2nd grader, maybe even really low 3rd grader, I wouldn't even do A's and B's right now. You can just start with the regular IRC and you can just expand and start building. I'm big on the scaffolding approach to teaching, so take it as far back as you need to and slowly build. So if they're not ready for A's and B's, don't introduce it yet, that's fine. Now, sometimes they struggle with the reasons or the A's and B's, so that's why I put the question stems on here. You can say, okay, well, can you explain how you shoot? Let's say they're at R1 for shooting the ball, okay? And they're like, I don't know what to write for my A's and B's. Go to the question stems, make an anchor chart and say, well, what are some examples of ways you can shoot? And they'll say, well, you can do a 3-pointer. Okay, write 3-pointer in A. What else? You can dunk. Yep, put dunk. So now they're learning, oh, I can just go to the question stems and whatever my answer is, that's my A and B, right? Dribbling. Okay, well, explain to me, like, where do you dribble? How do you dribble? Tell me more. Well, you can dribble down the court, up and down the court. Perfect. Court's A. Give me another example how you can dribble. You can dribble and do a trick in between your legs. Perfect. Legs. So you see how I'm using question stems to come up with my A's and B's. So that's a great anchor chart to get them to pull those, I'm trying to think of the word, elaboration, to pull the elaboration pieces out of them because they've got the reasons, shoot, dribble, win. Now we've got to get them to give 2 subtopics about that and elaborate. Okay, now, let me go to the next slide. All right, so I'm taking it back to 1st grade, early 2nd grade. You may say, Lisa, my 3rd grade, 4th grade's here. I'm just taking it way back for those that need it. In 1st grade, we start with pictures. So if you're looking at the left-hand side, depending on the 1st grade class I'm in, sometimes I won't even do the words. I'll just do pictures. Or kindergarten. You got kindergarten babies? You can just do pictures. Guess what? This IRC outline, they're going to use in 12th grade too. The same one they're using in 1st grade, they're going to use in 12th grade. That's the beauty of the way I wrote the curriculum, was nothing's going to change as far as format and structure. Your level of writing, your command of language will grow. not the structure. So I just want to point that out. Now, you can see the IRC outline. If you've got kids that are way below level struggling with words, start with pictures. If you look on the left-hand side, if you're saying write to explain about your favorite animal, and your favorite animal is a dog, I had to look at the word because I'm like, what is that picture? It's a dog. You see that I drew a picture of a dog in the first box and the bottom box. Now, we only have 2 reasons for first grade because we don't overwhelm them. So we just have R1, R2. But I have dog and dog. And then I came up with 2 reasons why I like dogs. They're cute, so I drew a cute dog. And then they play games. I drew a picture of a tennis ball because that's a game they can play. Okay, so that's on the left side. On the right side, okay, this is where you start bringing in A's and B's without them even knowing it, okay? So look at that picture of that dog that has the 3 arrows to it, right? They said they like dogs because they're cute. If they were going to do an A and B, they could pull from the details of their picture. Well, what's cute? Well, they have a bent tail and they have bulging eyes, whatever it is, right? Or about their fur or their nose. And so you start teaching them before they get to this, how to pull out subtopics. Okay, so that's another step that's in the first grade curriculum. So you can start with pictures, then the pictures turn into words, the words turn into sentences, and the sentences turn into paragraphs that make up your essay. So this is how far back we can bring it. Okay, pictures to words to sentences to paragraphs, and then that's your essay. Okay, all right. So this is the same exact outline. I just wanted to show you at the very low level. The next thing we do is focus on structure of one paragraph at a time. So this is what I call box paper. On the left side is box paper that I use from 2nd grade up. On the right side is box paper that I use for 1st grade. Okay, now I kind of want to go back to this real quick and show you. If I had a first K1 even 2 group, I'm going to talk to you real quick for a minute. And let's say I'm talking about a dog. I like a dog because they're cute and they can play games. Remember that, because I'm going to go to the next slide real quick. If I'm look on the right side of the screen, if I'm in the I box, I'm going to write let's pretend that ignore this prompt about crickets. Let's say the prompt is about favorite animal, okay? If I was in the I box, I would teach the kids to write, my favorite animal is a dog. And then the C box, my favorite animal is a dog. In the T1 box, I would write first, comma, they are cute. In the T2 box, second, comma, they play games. Because remember, that's what I planned out in my drawings. Okay, so I'm just putting simple sentences. Then, as we keep going through these skills, I'd start adding. This is what I mean by building one paragraph at a time. So then I go back to T1 where it says first they are cute, and I'd add a detail. Let's see. They have bulging eyes. So now probably 1st grader would just probably write they have big eyes. So I'd write they have big eyes. Then I'd go back to my picture and I go, oh, I like their fur. I like their fur. So now my T1 has 3 sentences all about a dog being cute. So I said first, they are cute, period. They have big eyes, period. I like their fur, period. That's my T1. Okay, so I built all that from my pictures. And again, this is happening over weeks, not days. This is 1st grade. We want to take our time. We want to do this planning probably 50 times with different prompts. And every class I model, I say, do this over and over and over, just pictures and then move into words. I don't care if you do this for 3 months. I want them to learn how to generate ideas and get them on paper. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you look on the left, this is for my 2nd and up. Again, this is teaching organization. So as they're planning, they're going to work on each piece. So real quick, just to kind of refresh your memory, if you look at R1, which is shooting the ball, just remember this real quick. R1 is shooting, A is 3-pointer, B is dunking. If I was in my R1 box, I'd write, to begin with, comma, I like basketball because you can shoot the ball, period. One way you can shoot the ball is by shooting a 3-pointer. And then I write a couple sentences about 3-pointer. Another way you can shoot the ball is by dunking. And then I write a couple sentences about dunking. That's my R1. And the kids know whatever's in that R1 box has to be about shooting the ball. I'm not going to talk about winning or dribbling, only shooting the ball. When I get to R2, I'm only talking about dribbling. When I get to R3, I'm only talking about winning. So it helps them stay organized, okay? Okay, Introduction paragraph, that's that I paragraph. So look in this little flower-shaped pink thing on the top right-hand corner of this screen. That's my planning. Remember, we did this a few slides ago. I'm going to talk about that first paragraph, which is the I paragraph, which is the introduction paragraph. Remember, I'm talking about when my favorite activity is basketball. Now, there are probably 100 different ways to teach introduction paragraph. I'm giving you one way, okay? So please don't say, I do it differently, or this is the right way. They're all right. This is just one way. And I know it works. So if you want to steal it, steal it. If you want to do something your own, do your own. I'm just telling you it works. It's easy. Will they do this consistently in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th? No, they'll grow. Listen, my oldest son is 18 now. He's in all these fancy ACE classes in his high school that are heavy writing intense. He still does hook 3 reasons closing, but just at this way higher level. Okay. He's writing at college level writing, but he's still using this basic structure. Okay. All right. Look on the left-hand side where I wrote the paragraph, and I want you to see first with colors. The red sentence is my hook. The blue sentence is where I state my central idea, which is favorite activity, and my 3 reasons. And then the yellow sentence is my closing. I teach closing by saying, say something nice about the topic. So basketball is the best sport in the world. Okay? So you can see I teach them to have a hook, then state their 3 reasons, and then a closing sentence. If you look back at that little flower petal, the reasons are shoot, dribble, win. I didn't mention any A's and B's. The reasons are shoot, dribble, win. So if you look at that blue sentence, I said my favorite activity is basketball because you can shoot the ball, comma, dribble on the court, comma, and win in lots of ways. Okay? Hook, 3 reasons, closing. You can see I color code everything. So you all know I always make kids write with pencil because I don't want to make color coding part of the writing process. They write in pencil, and then after they're done with that paragraph, I say pencils down, take out 3 highlighters. Don't worry about what colors, doesn't matter. Don't have to follow a certain system. And you're going to say highlight your hook, and let's say yellow. Highlight your 3 reasons, blue. Highlight your closing in pink, whatever colors you have. So the color coding they do on their own, it becomes part of the self-assessment process. So they're self-assessing. Did I put a hook? Did I state my 3 reasons? Do I have a closing? Okay, let's go to the next paragraph, R1. Okay, look at what I circled in that flower petal. This is why I love the planning, because it helps kids stay organized. In this next paragraph, I am only allowed to talk about shooting the ball, shooting a 3-pointer, and dunking. I can't mention nothing about dribbling, nothing about winning, no trophy, nothing. I'm only talking about shooting the ball, shooting a 3-pointer, and dunking. Okay, now look at this flower petal still. I wish I could write on here. I don't think I can, but if I could, I'd be drawing it as I'm explaining this to you guys. All right, I think you can see my mouse. So look at the word shoot. This is my topic sentence. I'm going to say, first, I like basketball because you can shoot the ball. Then I'm going to write a few sentences about shooting a 3-pointer. And then I'm going to write a few sentences about dunking the ball. And that's my paragraph. So the student doesn't need to say, Miss Calm, I don't know what to write. Yes, you do. Look at your roadmap. Your first sentence is going to be about shooting the ball. Then you write a couple of sentences about shooting a 3-pointer and a couple about dunking. Now, the number of sentences depends on your grade level. Now, if you look at that bottom square at the bottom, where it has R1, R2, R3, I say have a topic sentence. Write 3 to 4 sentences about your A and 3 to 4 sentences about your B as a minimum. This is at the 4th and up level. If you're in 1st grade, do 1 about A, 1 about B. If you're in 2nd grade, 1 to 2 about A, 1 to 2 about B. 3rd grade, 3 about A, 3 about B. 4th grade and up, 3 to 4 about A, 3 about B. These are just a minimum. It's just to help get it out of them. So look over here in the example paragraph. I have, first, I like basketball because you can shoot the ball. That's my topic sentence. That's why it's in red. You can see down here in this little key here. Then I wrote 3 sentences about 3-pointer. One way to shoot is by making a 3-pointer. You have to make sure you stand behind the white 3-point line. Then shoot it with a lot of force so it will make it into the basket. That's my 3 sentences about my A, which is 3-pointer. Then I have 3 sentences about my B, which is dunking. You can also make a shot by dunking. First, you have to run fast across the court. Then jump as high as you can and push it through the net. So I have T, which is topic, at least 3 about A, and at least 3 about B. Okay, this is how you set up every middle paragraph, R1, R2, and R3. So when I get to my next one, oh, I don't have that in there. When I get to the next paragraph, I would write, second, I like basketball because you can dribble. Then I read at least 3 sentences about dribbling on the court and at least 3 sentences about dribbling in between your legs. And then when I get to the next one, I go third, I like basketball because you can win. I read about series and trophy, okay? So you can see how I set up each paragraph. Then my conclusion paragraph, just like my introduction, there's probably 100 different ways to teach it and they're all right. I'm giving you one way. Okay, your conclusion paragraph, if you look at that bottom square down here, I told you the parts of the conclusion. First, you give an overview or a summary. You state that central idea plus your 3 reasons, and then a thought or feeling. So my overview is everyone has something special they like to do for fun. I love to play basketball. Then I state my 3 reasons: shooting the ball, dribbling on the court, and winning are the reasons I enjoy playing basketball so much. My thought or feeling, which is where you just say I think or I feel, is I think that basketball is the best sport on earth. I hope that everyone gets to play basketball at least once in their lifetime. And that's your essay. Now, this is non-text-based writing. Okay, remember that, non-text-based writing. Okay, step 2, I'm going to move a little faster because I want to keep you on this forever. Step 2 is where you introduce text-based writing. Okay, but you're going to introduce it at their level. Okay, so make sure the sources match their independent reading level. Be mindful of the volume of text as well. If there are 4 sources and you have a beginning reader, just pull one of the sources. Let them start with 1 or 2 and then build to the 4. Explicitly show the students the connection between the structure of non-text-based and text-based. Everything they just learned over here is the same thing in text-based, except the only difference is instead of coming up with all these ideas on their own, they're pulling it from the text. The same structure. You're still doing T, 3A, 3B. You're still doing overview, central idea, thought. The structure is the same, so you want to make sure they understand that. And then provide color-coded examples. So when we're talking about instruction, we want to start with structure. Structure's number 1, then quality. I'm not after quality in the beginning because you got to learn the pieces, right? And they're not going to be the best while you're learning them. Obviously they're going to not be very good in the beginning, and then we'll build that structure and then we focus on quality. I always say, even if you give me the most short and choppy sentences with bad spelling, I will take that any day as long as you have the right pieces, because then I can help you make those pieces better. That's where quality comes in. Once we've got that quality piece, then we do nothing but repetition, 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 because just like anything in life, you want to get better at it, you got to do it over and over again. So structure, then quality, then repetition. So what I was talking about was once they learn their T, 3A, 3B, so just in case you're lost back here, look at the bottom square. T is topic sentence, 3A, 3B. That's how you set up a middle paragraph. Once they learn that, look at the left side. This is a beginning writer, right? They're just giving me the pieces. First, like basketball because you can shoot the ball. One way to shoot it is by making a 3-pointer. You stand behind the line, then shoot it into the basket. You can also dunk. You can run past across the court, then jump and ball in the net. So they've got the pieces. They've got T, 3A, 3B, but they're short and choppy. So then we work on making them better. This is how you develop writer. Longer, more detailed. You can see these sentences are longer and detailed. Okay, once we've introduced text-based on their level, remember, if you've got a 6th grader at a 3rd grade level, put 3rd grade level text while you teach the skills, okay? Once they've mastered the skills, then we go into step 3. Now that they've learned T, 3A, 3B, they've learned all the parts of their intro, all the parts of their conclusion, now we got to put grade level text in front of them, okay? And here's where we got to get creative, because I know I've said this a few times, so I'm going to say it again. I'm speaking as the mom in me and the educator in me. I'm not sending any kid into a test day without some skills to put on paper. I refuse to let any kid go in there and write nothing. I don't care if you can't read one word of the text. I'm going to give you something you can write on that paper. There's always something kids can write. Okay? And so that's why it's so important to me to at least give them little skills, even if they can't read anything or under comprehend what it's saying. Because you know what? If you've got a 5th grader reading at a kindergarten level, I don't think you can get them to 5th grade level in months. So they may still be at that low level, and we as teachers got to give them some sort of skill. So I'm going to go over this with you quickly. So when they're reading the text, okay, and picture a 5th grader at a 1st grade reading level. Okay, we've got to give them strategies. Number one, I want them reading that prompt 3 times, trying to decode words, trying to figure out what the heck it is asking us to write about. Then I want them to become a detective. Look at the articles, look for pictures, look at the title, look at subheadings, any text features they have, skim the articles, look for bolded words, try to get an idea of what these articles are talking about. Okay? Subheadings are going to be their best friend. When they have to come up with their T1, T2, and T3 in text-based writing, it has to come from the text. So subheadings can be their topics. That's the titles and subheadings can be their main topics or their reasons. Especially if they're a struggling reader, titles and subheadings can become their main 3 topics or reasons. And kind of make it fun. Say, you're going to be a detective. I want you to find all the clues you can to figure out what these passages are about. Train them on that. Just don't say it. Model it and let them practice it over and over and over again. How to take, because now they've learned the skills from you with lower level text. We're in step 3 now. Now we've got grade level text in front of us. So now we've just got to teach them, okay, we know how to write it. We know all the pieces, but let's go in and try to comprehend what the text is saying by being a detective, looking at clues. So when you are preparing to write and you're getting that outline, okay, now those of you watching this, if it's, this is what, March 5th today, you may be watching this in a year, I don't know, the webinars just live forever. But if you are in a tested grade, I want to say this to you. If you've got a low level group that is really struggling with planning those A's and B's, you can take off the A's and B's. And you could do what's on the left-hand side and just do your regular IRC or your ITC. If they're struggling with A's and B's and it's taking up time and it's kind of setting the tone for them, being frustrated, you can take off A's and B's. I wouldn't do it for the whole class, but for that group, you can. For anyone watching this at any time during the year, it's much easier to start planning without A's and B's at first and then move into the A's and B's. Of course, the A's and B's make it so simple. We as teachers know it's so much easier with A's and B's because all you have to do is turn those into sentences. Those are your elaboration. But sometimes it's hard for kids to plan them out and find them. Okay, so sometimes you can just stick with, for those below level writers, just decide on 3 big topics or reasons. And like I was saying before, a lot of those can be titles and subheadings from the passages. So let's say you're reading 3 passages on alligators. So they're going to write alligators on the I line, the C line. And then as they're coming down, one of the subheadings says alligator habitats. They can put that for their R1. And as they keep reading, it can say alligator food. I don't know anything about alligators. I'm just going to say this. They can put alligator food on R2. And they keep reading, and it says alligators hunting. And they can put, so they can take the subheadings and put those as their R1, R2, and R3. When they're writing the essay, every kid can indent. Even if they're just writing one word, everyone can indent because you get points for organizing your essay. Whether it's a state test or not, everyone should be organizing their essay by indenting. Okay? Introduction paragraph, 2 to 3 sentences. Now, again, I'm not giving you this as a final way you should write an essay. I'm saying this as you're telling me a below level writer and they've got to write. I'm telling you the most simple way to get the most points. Let's put it that way. The most simple way to get the most points. This isn't the final end result that I want for every kid, but this is for my below level writers that I want to give strategies to be successful and not get a 0. So give me an introduction, 2 to 3 sentences. Keep the hook simple, question or statement. State those 3 reasons that you put in your planning. Okay, and call it a day. That's it. So let's say we're reading about alligators. And we wrote alligators on the I and the C. And then remember, we put habitats, food, and hunting. Let's say they go to write their introduction. Now, I'm talking a below level writer. They could literally write, there are lots of alligators, period. Now I gotta name my 3 reasons. They live in habitats, period. They can hunt, period. They eat food, period. So I just name my 3 reasons from my R1, R2, R3. Just something simple. I'm not, again, this isn't our perfect score, but we're trying to get them points. Each middle paragraph, okay? Every single kid can use, I don't want every single kid using first, second, and third. My point is, I don't care if you're ELL or ESE, way below grade level reading, every kid can put first, second, and third, okay? 95% of your class should be using different transition words. But if you have the 1, 2, or 3 that are really below grade level, struggling, maybe just learning English, and they want to put first, second, and third, every kid can use first, second, and third in that situation. That's going to get them points. They indented. That's going to get them points. And now they put a transition word. That's going to get them points. You can teach them those 3 words. So even if they have no idea what the text is saying, you can teach them those 3 words. Again, I wouldn't be giving this presentation in August. I'm giving it because it's March. And almost every school I work with times thousands has a test in 4 weeks. And all of you that I've talked to have at least 1 or 2 that are sitting there who cannot read. So I'm giving you these strategies because it's that time of the year. And I want those kids to go in with something, some skills and strategies to take. Okay? So every kid can put a quote and every kid can cite. All you have to do to cite is put the title of the article in parentheses at the end of the quote. Okay? So you have a simple introduction. When you get to the first middle paragraph, you indent, you put first habitats, period. Let's just say that's the subheading they took. Then they take a quote from where it talks about habitats, and at the end of the quote in parentheses, they put the title of the article. Let's say it's alligator habitats. Then they go to R2, right? Second, they have food, period. And they take a quote about food. At the end, they cite the article title, period. R3, third, they can hunt, period. They take a quote about hunting, they put the article title at the end. So now every kid, regardless if they can read on level or not, even if they have no idea what it's saying, they're getting 3, 4, 5 points because they're giving us indenting, transition words, quotes, citations on topic. They're giving us a lot out of the rubric. If you took the rubric and did check, okay, even though we know that's not how they score, but I'm just saying they would get points for those things. So again, if you say, well, they didn't write anything because they can't read on level, that means nothing to me. Every kid, I don't care if they read or not, can write first, second, and third. Every kid can copy a quote and put quotation marks around it. Every kid can cite by copying the title and putting it in parentheses. So these are the little things. In your conclusion, 2 to 3 sentences, again, just restating those 3 reasons. Oh, excuse me. And then giving like a thought or feeling. So I think or I feel. Super easy. So when I'm telling you, this again isn't something I say in August. I say this 2-3 weeks before the state test. It's to give strategies for those kids that are really struggling. Because again, no kids losing points on my watch for not indenting. No kids losing points for not putting a transition word because everyone can put first, second, and third. And then no kids losing points because they're not putting some sort of elaboration, which can be a quote, and they're not losing points for citing because you just copy the title of the article in parentheses. That's it. Okay, you have to invest time in writing. You say, oh, I was at a school, they said we have 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week. We don't know why our kids aren't getting it. And the teachers are like, we need more time. So to the principal, I'm like, you're never gonna, get kids on level and or let them grow as writers if we're talking 20 minutes a day, 4 days a week. Because we all know as teachers, by the time you get in, pack up, that's like 10 minutes. So we want to make sure that we're having enough time. Structure, organization are key. Be clear about expectations. Give checklists. If you haven't seen our checklist, we have plenty of those. Practice and repetition. That is old school and it works. The one thing that bothers me about a lot of curriculums of many subjects is we are making everything fancy when we need to go back to basics and what works. And repetition and practice is what works. Color coding should be your best friend. It makes everything explicit. Daily self-assessment, completed examples, all of that good stuff. If you do not have the top scoring curriculum, all of this is in there, just embedded within it. You don't have to think about it. The checklist, the color coding, the daily assessments, the completed examples, it's just all in there for you. It's not like you have to go find stuff. Just flip the page each day. That's how I wrote it on purpose. And then individualizing is the secret. So my favorite thing to show is this. So if you look at this skill tracker, okay, I know it's kind of hard to see, but you have the student names, you have a pretest in the beginning, and a post-test at the end. And what do most teachers do for almost every subject? We always give a pre-test and then we give a post-test after, 3, 4, 5 weeks of teaching it. And then the post-test, we see all the things wrong, all the strengths and weaknesses at the post-test. But we just let 4 or 5 weeks just pass. I don't do all that. I teach to monitor as we're teaching and catch the strengths and weaknesses along the way. And then the post-test, just post-test, right? So I'm monitoring throughout it. So instead of just doing pre-test and post-test, we're giving pre-test, skill check, 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 post-test. Skill checks are mini quizzes. So you see the first big column after student names is pre-test. Then you'll see in lesson 25, there's a skill check on prompts. Lesson 27 is skill check on planning. Lesson 29 is skill check on introduction. So every few lessons, we're doing a skill check on whatever I just taught you. And the skill check is 1 to 2 questions, short and sweet, on on what we just taught. So here's the great thing about this. And by the way, you just have to put a P, A, or N. If you look up at this, the key, P stands for proficient, A stands for approaching, N stands for needs development. P, A, or N. I tell teachers, put this on a clipboard, and as they're taking the skill check, walk around and give them a P, A, or N based on what you're seeing. Don't collect them and bring them home and grade them. No one has time for that. Okay, if you ever heard me talk, I do everything. I teach teachers to do everything while the kids are writing. The score means nothing. That's a state thing. We need to give them feedback. So let's say you do the skill check on prompts. You're writing P's, A's, and N's, do. And as you get done, you go, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 17 out of my 22 have N's for prompts. Note to self, I need to reteach prompts tomorrow, right? If you didn't track all that and do that, you'd have no idea. It's impossible to remember what every kid needs. Let's say you get done at the end of the week and you go, oh, let me see. You're looking at your skill check. I have 5 N's for prompts, 7 N's for planning, and 6 N's for introduction. I need to pull skill groups on Monday with these 3 groups. It allows you to pull specific skill groups, not just skill groups based on level, specific skill groups. Okay, this tracking system is going to change everything if you've never done something like this. Okay, and then going back to my whole stop scoring papers at home, if again, something I preach on all the time, I understand if your county or your school has a test that they're requiring you to score because they need data. A lot of counties need a pre, mid, and end for, data purposes. All the other times they write, score while they are writing. Forget taking it home, because in the end, and when I say score, I mean look for the strengths and weaknesses, because 2 things. Number 1, we need a conference immediately or the next day. If we take the papers home, we're going to score them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday. Try to talk to the kids 5 days later. No one remembers what they wrote 5 days later. So we need a conference as quickly as possible. But number 2, the score means nothing, right? Handing a paper back and saying, you got a 7 out of 12, or you got a 5 out of 10. That means nothing to a kid. That's not feedback, okay? But if you do something like I'm about to show you, you're going to see, forget the score. Let's give them immediate feedback. So this is an informal checklist. It's in all my sections of my curriculum. It's 1 paper. Let's say they're taking a practice writing, or they're practicing an essay today, whole essay. You put this on a clipboard, and the whole time they're writing, you have all their names. You go put checks and X's under all these. So let's say you walk by the kid and they have their introduction, they have their hook 3 topics closing, good, they get a check. Next kid, transition word, nope, no topic sentence, X. Right? And you're walking by every kid like 15, 20 times because you're just circulating the room the whole time, just putting checks and X's, but grading as they're writing, checks and X's, checks and X's, checks and X's. Guess what? By the end of that writing test, just on this 1 sheet of paper, you're going to have all the information you need. You're going to have every strength and weakness of your entire class and student. You're going to look at this paper and hold it back and go, whoa, I didn't even notice. 20 out of my 22 have X's for quotes. I need to do a mini lesson on that tomorrow. Or, whoa, I've got 7 with X's for paraphrasing. I've got 11 with X's for citations and 10 with X's for conclusion. I need to pull small groups, right? This 1-page paper is going to tell all for everything you need. Forget the score. How about the next day when that kid comes in, you take this paper We're gonna pretend this is the paper. And you're gonna say, okay, you're gonna get them all started on something. You're gonna say, okay, you two come here, listen. I saw you're gonna have this spreadsheet that's on the screen on your clipboard. You're okay, listen, I saw your paper yesterday. Looked good overall, but I did notice that you have no citations in T2 and T3. Excuse me. And your conclusion is only one sentence. You know all that, not based on taking home and scoring. You know all that from this sheet. So you're going to be able to tell all the strengths and weaknesses, all the needs, if you should reteach, if you should pull small groups, everything from this one sheet that you did while they were writing. No need to take the papers home. Who cares about the score? So something like this, if you don't use the curriculum, but having a checklist like this is crucial to identifying strengths and weaknesses, but also moving kids. You want to move kids quickly? This is how you do it. Because if you don't have this, I call this a tracking system, but if you don't have some sort of tracking system, you're never going to remember what every kid needs. It's impossible. It's not your fault. Just our brains can't remember all 20-something kids in every piece of the essay and what they were struggling with and what they got. So this allows you by just checks and X's to keep track of all of it. You can also, we have checklists that are full checklists, which have much more than these two on here, but sometimes you have to individualize the checklist, right? And have it grow over time. So sometimes you're like, you know what? It's too much to include all this stuff on the kid checklist. Sometimes you have to make a personalized checklist. So this has less to allow them to conquer this, master this, and then we add more pieces as they grow and learn over time. Okay. I know that was a lot. I was trying to keep this short and sweet, but I have so much to share with you. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I want to leave you with some information. Of course, I just noticed my email is not on here, but I'm going to give it to you. So obviously our website is www.topscorewriting.com. That is our phone number. Katie Jackson is my director of curriculum. That's her email. Jen Jones is my CAO. That's her email. My name is Lisa Collum. I am the author and owner. My email is just simply lisa@topscorewriting.com. If you watched this and you enjoyed it, I would love to hear from you. If you have questions, I would love to hear from you. From here, a couple of things. If you saw anything in this presentation that you would like, please email us. We will get that to you. The checklist, the box paper, anything you saw, please reach out. If you use TopScore and you have questions, reach out to us. If you don't use TopScore and you have questions, reach out to us. We have tons of free resources. So if you're like, well, this is the first time I heard of you, I'm not sure, please email us. We will send you all those free resources. I also don't know if you know this, but my team and I are like Zoom pros. So we can jump on Zoom anytime for you. So it can be a 5-minute Zoom where you just have questions. It could be an hour Zoom where you want me to present to your grade level. We are perfectly happy to do that anytime. So just know we're able to support you whether you use TopScore or not in any way possible to help with teaching writing. All right, so you all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you once again for watching this, and I really hope to hear from all of you. Have a great day.